Hey everyone, this is Dr. Drake Vellaut with GUNC. We're going to be talking about today some of the cool new stuff that Stars Reach is doing in game. So let's just jump right in. We're going to talk a little bit about wild wormholes today, along with some of the things that the Stars Reach dev team has been teasing us about what we're going to see with the future, specifically with flora in general, and how they're trying to make it a lot more realistic, the clustering, and how they're going to make it a lot more dense. So, right now, we're walking through the new planet, Cinnasaxa, one of the wild wormhole planets. The wild wormholes, the way they work in Stars Reach currently, from a testing perspective, is they're creating these planets once a test that allows them to really test out their procedural generation for their worlds and be able to see what's possible. And from a player's perspective, this is great from us because we're getting to see all these new unique worlds every single play test. Eventually down the eventually down the way, we're gonna have these wild wormholes. They're gonna be the kind of like gold rush type planets that they open for a specific short period of time, and you can go grab your resources. But if you don't get out of the planet before that wormhole closes, then well, you're gonna have to relife and you're gonna lose all that material and go back to whichever planet you had previously been on. So it's going to add a really interesting aspect to the game that kind of gives you that risk versus reward type feel to it. But looking through this world, one thing I wanted to kind of highlight, um, this is one of my favorite worlds, and you can kind of see just how beautiful all this flora looks. Like it actually looks like you're going through some type of a forest. Where some of the other planets may feel a little bit sparse here and there, this is the first planet that I truly feel like it feels like a forest. Like you're going through, wanted to do this kind of slow walk, zoomed in type look, so you can really get a feel for walking through. And just with these updates they've been putting together, them adding thickets, like you'll see that throughout this video, like having these different types of flora, like the thickets, you can't walk through them. You have to, the only way to get rid of them currently in game is you have to use a flamethrower to get them out of your path, which can be a little bit problematic because we don't want to burn down the entire forest, but it's it's those types of things that adds a little bit of that traversal challenge to the gameplay, which is really interesting to see. Like you don't want to be able to just easily get through stuff. And these updates are really starting to add that. Currently, you have the smaller floor. They have their hitboxes that you're running into. That will eventually change in some of these feature updates that they're talking about, where they're going to have, instead of running into these smaller flora, you're going to actually be able to walk through them, and it's actually going to slow you down, which is going to be a really interesting thing, and more realistic actually as well. So I know Gunk is really looking forward to being able to have that aspect put into the game where you can now even further interact with the world around you. So being able to walk through floor and have that extra slowdown is going to be really interesting to experience. Your thickets, they're still going to be impassable. So it's just those different exploration challenges that we can't wait to see going forward. One other thing I wanted to mention during this is I didn't want to use a grav mesh during this entire walkthrough, just to kind of show speed, how long it takes to get from a planet one side to the other. And I know they've been talking about with the grav mesh, trying to balance it a little bit more and try and figure out. Uh, they've talked about the grav mesh we have currently is more of a high end artisan crafted version. And so we may end up seeing a more basic grav mesh. They talked about more of a like a bunny hop mechanic, where it's meant for more just traversal getting around versus the grav mesh, you're able to fly for much longer distances. So definitely interested in seeing that, because you want to, from a traversal challenge point, like you want to be able to feel that it takes a little bit of effort to traverse. Like you're going to have these master rangers that are going to be trying to explore these planets, and you want to feel that difference between someone who's a master ranger and someone who has put 0 points into that ranger skill tree. So grav meshes kind of makes it easy for everyone. So it'll be interesting to watch as Stars Reach figures out more traversal challenges and stuff of that nature. And so this is why we're kind of walking through, because you can get around this planet. I mean, we didn't go through the entire thing, but it'll take about 18, 19 minutes. And slow walking, you're able to get through. And in reality, during this time, you'd be harvesting flora, you'd be cutting down some trees. You may stop at some of these rock structures and look for some different types of minerals. So there's a lot to do when you're kind of exploring these planets. Looking at the fauna, that's a big portion, because it's just about like trying to figure out these worlds, especially when they're only available for a single test. It really gives that exploration and discovery feel to them. And I know, from GUNC's side, we're trying to document a lot of that information, because if it's only available once, it's only available at that time. So it's through time lapses, through other videos, through screenshots. We're trying to keep a record of all these different planets, from a historical perspective, because that's one of the parts that GUNC is trying to get a hold of, is keeping track of the Stars Reach history, all the different planets, all the different creatures, flora. It's a lot of fun to kind of have that discovery exploration side, and that's something we're really taking to heart at GUNC. And it's a fun gameplay loop, and so we're definitely looking forward to seeing the different aspects that discovery and exploration really comes out in this game. And so, if we get back to talking about the flora side of things, so you saw how everything felt very dense. It felt like a forest. It everything's seeming like it's coming a bit more to life. But we haven't even got into the update that Raph has been teasing lately over the past week or so. That he shared on the Stars Reach Discord, just different photos about, the how dense flora is going to become. The devs have talked about that. I believe the current limit is around 10,000 flora on the world, and they're talking that they're going to be increasing it to like 30,000, which you really can't even plant that many flora on the planet. Like physically, there's not enough room on the planet. So it'll be interesting to see what these new planets feel dense wise, because that's something they've definitely been teasing. And GUNC has been paying attention to it. Like, we want to see what types of not only challenges will come from it, but how much more beautiful the worlds will end up looking. Because, in my opinion, this planet is a top tier planet from look side of things, and they don't have that update even in place. I think it's still a couple weeks out, as of when this video is going to release. So we're all crossing our fingers to kind of finally get in game and see what that new update's going to bring, because um, we think it's going to be a very interesting update, um, and looking forward to seeing more how planets are going to evolve over time with these different updates and with the more dense flora and the more different types of clustering, which they've been playing around with. And that's kind of the benefit of these wild wormhole planets right now. It gives the devs the opportunities to test different things while they can maintain the building structures that players have built on the other planets. They don't have to wipe those. They can have these planets that can be a little bit more experimental, and test out different things. So it'll be really interesting to see once we get this clustering in, because not only are we talking about denseness, but you're talking about being able to cluster different plants together. And they went in depth on Discord, one of the voice chats, about how they want to be able to cluster the different plants together and how they're ending up spawning them based on different conditions. And it's looking at so many different aspects of the climate, the temperature bands that the planet supports, and all of that type of information. It's just mind blowing how these worlds are created. And it's going to be really interesting because you've seen the progression go where, like, some of the clustering was a little bit iffy towards the beginning of the pre-alpha, and now you're seeing it makes a lot more sense. Like, it feels like a forest because you have the trees and then you have the undergrowth with just a bunch of different, like, bioluminescent flora. You have all this other stuff that's making the forest kind of come alive, and so the clustering's feeling really good right now. And that's kind of why we're showing this video, is showing what is already possible right now and how beautiful these worlds look, because I don't think we've really seen um, a deep look at some of these planets, from just a enjoyment perspective. Like, we've seen combat and stuff like that, but we wanted to kind of give a different viewpoint on just kind of trying to take in what the world actually looks like. And um, they're doing a lot of stuff. Like, you'll see, like, have little things in the skybox like the rings, or you'll see the moon actually moving. You'll see one of the moons on this planet, it actually goes through the different phases of the moon, like throughout the night cycle, all adding to that kind of like realistic effect that makes, like, some of the time lapses we do, they're pretty interesting to watch, because it kind of gives you a real snapshot of what these planets look like, and what's possible. Like, every planet, every new wormhole that opens up, that's one of the first things I know I'm trying to look for, is like, what's the skybox going to look like? What kind of flora is going to be on the planet? And I'm just going to interrupt myself right here. Like, look at how dense this is already. Like, you're trying to get through this area, and there's a lot of stuff going on here, to the point that, like, you have to figure out a way around here. Yeah, you could use the grab mesh, absolutely. But what trying to do here is, okay, let's take out our harvester and see if we can get around. Nope, still can't do it. Okay, let's harvest a little bit more. Okay, now we're able to get through. So this is really great, and the performance has gotten a lot better. Like, with this amount of density, there was a little bit of hiccups. Like, you'd see a little bit of a frame drop, but here it's smooth right through it. Um, and it's just a really nice game. That's one of the parts that I know a lot of people in Discord have been talking about, is just the way things look in game, the art style, the stylized look of it. And I come from, the stylized look wasn't something that attracted me to the game at the beginning, but it was one of those things that always recommend, like, get in the game and test it out for yourself, because it's one of those things that kind of grown on you as played the game, and it's one of those things that I actually enjoy now, and it's looking forward to seeing all the new kind of updates that they plan on doing, because this is really just the beginning. This is the first update that they had these procedurally generated worlds, and they've been working a lot on trying to make it better through flora, through fauna, and so the game's only going to get better from here on out. And so this is kind of what we wanted to give you a look, and we're definitely going to try and get out more videos, kind of showcasing the different planets from a different aspect. We've been doing the time lapses, which we'll continue doing, but we wanted to kind of give players a different perspective, especially like if you weren't able to make it to one of these planets, it'd be a shame like to not be able to see some of what is going on, because a lot of players are keeping up with Stars Reach on a weekly basis. And so this gives them a way of kind of seeing the world without actually having to be in the world. And so we're going to keep trying to do different stuff like this. Um, and then we'll kind of just tease a little bit of. So before we end this video, GUNC is working on a little project that we're going to try and put together. I don't know the cadence of when we'll release it, but we're putting together some type of, let's call it like a journal, like think like National Geographic, but more Stars Reach type thing. That kind of gives players more information about different planets, and just how the game's going in general. So don't know when it's going to get released. We're in the rough drafts of it right now, but keep your eye out for it. And we'll definitely keep everyone updated on that. But for now, thank you all for taking part in watching this video, and we hope you enjoy it. And if you do like some of this content, let us know. Like, give us a like, subscribe, leave some comments on what you enjoy. And then we're going to keep creating some content to hopefully bring you guys more information about Stars Reach and just the world of Stars Reach and all that type of stuff. So thank you very much, guys, and hope you all have a great rest of your day, and have a good one from GUNC.